Hey all, welcome to SLB Drinks. I'm Kurt, this is Trenton, and today is going to be a great day, Trenton. It's a great video. It's going to be lots of fun. A little bit old school.
Very old school.
A little bit old school.
It's been a hot minute since we've done one of these.
I think you know me well enough to know I like a little old school.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
It's been a while since we've done a distillery review. I can't even remember the last time, do you?
Nope.
It might have been close to a year ago. I'm not even sure.
I don't know what the last one we did was
Yeah,
either.
we've had fun doing those, and we take specific distilleries. Sometimes they're too big to cover all their core releases, and if that's the case, we kind of split them in groupings. But today we wanted to cover Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
And their core releases are really, what we got, 5 bottles in their core releases? Yep. I mean, they have a plethora of limited releases, you know, the whole stave profile thing, and, you know, and we're not going to get into all that. But they have a ton of excellent limited and special releases. Can we at least just say that?
Oh, yeah. Definitely some of my favorites,
yeah.
I will say. But
yeah, some of that stuff has done really well for us in blinds. The Bourbon Madness tournament, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the cellar aged for me personally came in second place.
I don't remember where that got knocked out for me, but I do like it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I think I've personally grown to be a little bit more of a Makers fan than I have been in the last couple of years. I know Kent is a big Makers fan.
And we just got back from a trip to Georgia with a couple of barrel picks. We were fortunate enough to visit ASW and 13th Colony when we're in the Atlanta area, and we had lots of fun in both of those. Thanks to each of those distilleries for treating us like majestic kings.
You just had to go. A little bit of an inside joke that we're never going to talk about, but it was definitely a good time. Kent joined us, and it was a lot of fun. And Kent, he got a little pint of Makers for a nightcap before bed.
Yes, that was my point of it. Yeah, he got a little pint just so he had a little bit here and there, and he loves Makers.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where you were going
that's
with that.
Exactly
and I was like,
where
oh yeah, that's right.
That's right. So I think it's for the most part great, but we're going to discuss it here, Trent. Let's bring out that first bottle. Basic Maker's Mark bourbon, 90 proof, going to run you about $25. I mean, you can't beat the price point. I realize proof point is going to be a little bit low for some of you proof hounds out there, but for a guy like me and a lot of others that are out there, that 90 proof is going to be nice and solid, easy sipper.
Yeah. Honestly, have you ever read the Boxcar Children? You know those books?
I do not.
This reminds me kind of what I would imagine like living in a boxcar would be like. Mm-hmm. It's got this like cozy kind of a woodiness type of a thing. And I will say I don't gravitate much towards the regular Makers. It's a little bit too low of a proof for me and kind of what it offers. I think it's a great mixer. Yeah. I'm not going to scoff anybody for drinking it. I think it's a fantastic bottle, and I know a lot of the folks that watch us, this is their daily drinker. This is something they go to often, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
No, not at all. I want to know from you, especially in the aromas, even on the regular Maker's Mark, I tend to get some pecan coming out of there.
I was trying to figure out what that was. I was getting a little bit of
me. Trenton has that. I got a little bit of the regular 46 that we'll get to in a minute poured in mine. You know, it's just something we haven't had in a long time, so I thought we'd pour a little bit. We have to record 4 videos tonight because, you know, Trent and I got to go on vacation.
I know
your mom and I. We got to get out of here for a week, and we're gonna have a good time. So we can't sip each and every one of these, or else we'll never get through all 4.
Yeah, and then we just got done with the whole Star Trek video, and I have some Spock wig hair still kind of camping out on my neck back here, so I'm a little bit itchy. But yeah, I mean, readily available, really solid, low proof, low price. Yeah. You really can't go wrong with regular Makers.
No, one of Kent's all-time favorites right there.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Yep. Bring it on, buddy.
Regular Makers 46, and this is another one that's
what I have right here.
I don't drink too often, honestly. It's a really good price. I think this is it's $34.99. Maker's Mark 46. It is, of course, 46 times 2 is a 94 proof. It smells like cologne.
I mean, come on now. Cologne.
Yeah, barrel finished with 10 French oak staves. When I say that, it's giving me this woodiness, like a woody, which makes sense given the stave profile.
Yeah, but I really enjoy that. It's French oaky without being overly French oaked, in my opinion. I think it smells wonderful. Really do.
I get like a little bit of a cinnamony type of a thing going on in it. We were staying at this Hilton hotel, and they had a nice continental breakfast, and they had this cinnamon Belgian waffle mix, and I had a good amount
Yeah,
of waffles.
I was trying. Come on, man. Shame on me for not having this in a New York minute, honestly, because that 46, that regular 46 is just fantastic. It's 94 proof. It's a little bump up a few points in proof from the regular makers, but you had to pour that in the sink. Didn't you?
I don't know why
Get
I
every
poured that.
dribble down in there.
I don't know why I poured that down the
I'm not
drain
either.
instead of putting it back in the bottle. Sorry for
Or
the,
in the infinity bottle over here.
I'm gonna get roasted for that. I get roasted every video. That's nothing new.
Go on, Trent.
I get a little bit of a cinnamony, like a cinnamized pecan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I do like that.
yeah. It's just wonderful, really. Is.
I'm gonna have to go back to this a little bit more often.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little. The only knock I can give it is it's a little bit drying on the tail end.
Tiny astringent on the back end.
Yep.
I get that.
But it's not off-putting in a way that's gonna make me kind of stray away from it.
$35.
It's kind of hard to beat.
Let's keep that in mind too.
$35.
All right, let's move on, bud. I got Maker's Mark 101, and as you knew in the Bourbon Madness tournament, this beat something pretty darn good on my bracket.
Is it Russell's?
No, not Russell,
I don't
but it
remember
was
what it
something.
was.
It was
Yeah.
something pretty good.
Yeah.
And I love that bottle. Excuse me, I love that bottle. It gives me a lot of butterscotch tones in it. It amps up the proof just a little bit from your regular makers. I use this one a ton for mixing.
I know you do.
Me
It's got some good
personally,
proof on it.
I prefer, and this is just me personally, I prefer a little bit more proof than a 90 proof for a mixer. And this 101 is right on the money. And the flavors are richer than a normal 90 proof bourbon. And it's still not that expensive. I think that's when it was close to $40. But, you know, truth be known, I bought several of these from Harry and Howie had them for, what was it, $28 or something like
It
that?
was $22.99.
It was cheap, and I bought, I think, 4.
Yeah.
And because I do really like them for mixing as well, and I do like to sip them once in a while. And I think it's this hasn't been out for a long time. I don't believe
It was weird because when we
in the core release.
we were going to Binny's for a while, which is an hour away from us, and they had Maker's Mark 101, but we didn't have it in Indiana yet.
Yeah.
So we were going to Binny's every, I don't know, every 4 or 5, 6 months to grab a couple because they were really low price. And honestly, this is one that I ended up drinking quite a bit as I started my journey, because like I didn't start off at 130 proof. That's just not how my kind of thing was. I got blasted in the throat with the George T. Stagg for a limited release the first time he ever offered me something.
I remember.
So I had to do a massive
remember that.
correction and go. I started off at Basil Hayden's and stuff, and that was even at that point, it was still a little bit too proofy for me. But as I worked up, I went from like Basil Hayden's to Elijah Craig 94, and then this was one that I was kind of stuck on for a while, and then unfortunately I had Rare Breed, and I just wrecked my whole life. So
yeah, I remember at the beginning too. You really liked a couple of those Evan Williams single barrels that I had.
those were good too.
Those are a little bit lower proofs too, and
Bottle
they
and
were
Bond,
pretty
13
delicious.
bucks. Yeah.
So, all right, I'm next actually, Trent. I messed up the whole thing here, so my apologies.
Shame.
I'm gonna bring out my next bottle here, Maker's Mark Cask Strength. I've spoken about this bottle on relative amounts of occasions here on the channel. I think this is a dynamite bottle for the price. I really do. It's another $40 bottle, cask strength, around 110 proof. It gives you everything you want in a cask strength bourbon. It really does. The only knock I could give it, even just a tiny bit, Trenton, would be the viscosity. And at this point, we're splitting hairs too.
Right.
So it might be a tiny bit thin than kind of a normal cask strength type whiskey, but I think the flavors are solid. The price or the proof points fantastic, especially for me at 110 and $40. How can you beat it? I mean, how can you beat it?
There's not really that many like cask strength bourbons at that kind of price point that I can name off the top of my head. I mean, you got Rare Breed, but that's 15, 20, 25 bucks more. I think that's a really good deal. And I honestly think I've maybe had that bottle once or twice. It's not something I don't even think I have that at home. But I know that for that price point and what these other ones kind of deliver, then I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
I truly have this every once in a while.
Do you?
I absolutely do.
Is that an older bottle?
It might be. It might be. I can't remember what's the new. Are these old or are these new? Or is this old? Is this new?
I have no idea. They keep switching stuff up on me, and I honestly don't know.
I've had several, and I
What's what
usually
anymore.
buy several of these. I didn't quite get 4, but I usually buy like 2 at a time when I'm out.
And they're how
Just
much?
because I always have a backup because I do tend to go to it.
$39.99.
Yeah, $40.
Okay, that's
$40,
not bad at all.
man.
Well, and I mean, last but not least, my absolute favorite of this lineup. It has won several blinds. I think it beat out Antique 107, or got pretty dang close to beating Weller Antique 107. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think if you are somebody who likes a wheated bourbon and you can't get the Wellers and stuff because they're allocated and they're hard to come by, I don't know the availability in other markets, other states and stuff, but these 5 here are on the shelves all the time.
Yeah, we failed to mention that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. These are wheated bourbons. So it's going to be a little softer on the palate, tiny bit sweeter in general.
I mean, come on.
That's fantastic.
There's absolutely nothing.
I'm not dumping mine over here. But
That's fair.
I'm going to drink out of your glass so real quick.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I think it is one of the better offerings that you can get available off the shelf. I would be interested. Have we done a rare breed versus this, like in a blind with a couple other, like Old Forester 1920, like those?
I don't think so.
We should.
I'm a little nervous about that.
I think
it is tremendous.
Yeah.
It is.
And I think this is what's the price for this?
About $65.
$65. Okay.
Yeah,
so
$65.
about right on par with the rare breed, 110 proof. So it's a little bit lower. But I mean, really, it's so soft and delicate, but it's still got this really nice vanilla cherry thing going on in it.
Definitely.
I don't know if this is just me today, but I am getting a little bit more oakiness on the finish than I usually do.
I tend to get a little more like a Cinnabon type notes out of it. You know, the beautiful, the way Trenton really likes his cinnamon rolls, right, honey, with gobs of butter on there and a whole bunch of frosting. Oh yeah.
Oh wait, that's me.
No. Butter, we've said this, I've said this before. Butter does not belong on a cinnamon roll. Please do not do it. Just enjoy the nice cream cheese icing on it. Butter doesn't add anything to it. There's just...
Who are you? Butter doesn't add anything? You put a wad of real butter on top of a cinnamon roll with that beautiful icing on it? Lord help us.
I want my cinnamon roll to be crunchy, not wet and nasty.
Crunchy?
Not crunchy, but have like a nice crust on it. Because the cinnamon and the sugar on top is going to make a nice caramelized, and then you mix that with a little cream cheese icing. Oh,
I want to peel that thing apart and be as gooey as it can get. I do. Do you, babe? Me too.
Yeah. We just had boiled peanuts the other day for the first time.
We were in Georgia, and my wife wasn't able to come with us. We got introduced to boiled peanuts.
I don't like peanuts.
Honey, this was a whole other experience I've never had. And they put a little Cajun seasoning in it too.
It was actually pretty good. The only thing that got me was the texture. It was pretty gritty.
Kind of.
That is one thing that I didn't love, but the flavor was really nice. It's like
lovely.
I like peanuts crunchy. Why do they got to be like wet?
Yeah.
Don't make a cinnamon roll wet beyond belief with butter on it.
Yeah, that was at a tap house, wasn't it? And honey, I drank my first beer.
Kurt had a beer, and it was a sherbet sour. It was actually pretty good.
It was,
He finished it.
I did.
Wow.
But it was a little one. It wasn't.
It was a 10 ouncer, but he did it anyways.
Yeah,
it was impressive.
It was a little one, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Normally I just can't stand beer, but that wasn't too bad.
We got a little bit off on a tangent there, but
I'm sorry. I went from cinnamon rolls to beer to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but I could get a little bit of you're walking through a mall and you get a nice Cinnabon type of an essence to it.
I do.
With some asbestos in the mall, and it's all around great. I think honestly in the lineup, I would go. Obviously, this would probably be first, and then I might even go down.
Call,
well, like this is obviously my first, and then I can't say much about this. I'd probably go this second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Wow.
But that's only because I haven't had this in a while, and I don't want to.
Well, for me, I'd have to kind of echo Trenton on first place. It's so hard to beat that 46 cask strength. But then it gets into some tough decisions for me. So I think next I'm going to go with Maker's Mark cask strength. Okay. But I think after that.
That's 101.
Well, my bad. It's over here then. Maker's Mark cask strength will be my second place. Then I'm going to have to go with the 101, then the regular 46, and then the regular Makers. Right. So I'm going to say this though. That's my list from best to worst. But I truly feel that Maker's Mark is a fantastic distillery that is still delivering good quality bourbon at a fair price.
I think in terms of the diversity and proof range, the price being as good as it is, and just the fact that these are mostly available, if not always available, Makers is probably one of the best distilleries for a core lineup in what they offer. You got something that's a little bit for everybody, from price point, from proof point. I like Makers, Michter's, and I could name a couple other that are really solid with their core offerings. I wish Michter's had something a little bit more budget friendly.
Sure.
But I honestly, Makers has been on my list of growing distilleries in terms of my favorites that I gravitate towards in the last, I don't know, year or so.
Yeah. So if you haven't yet, grab a couple. Grab a couple bottles. You can even start at the lower end at $25. You can't beat it, really.
And then, I mean, we got to talk about this real quick. We did a pick at Maker's Mark. These are all over the place at stores. They're anywhere from $55 to $65. There are 1,001 different stave profiles that you can get. Yeah. We ended up going with 12241, but there's some really cool ones where I've seen it's just mystery. They don't put it on the label. It's just 5 question marks and stuff. So there, for a little bit of an experiment to kind of see what stave profiles you like and everything, and to try and get different profiles and stuff out of the 1,001 that they have. These are great too. Yeah. So it's cool to see the diversity in the Makers lineup. So
a lot of great products in those bottles too that are out there. All right, well, that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. It was kind of nice getting reacquainted with a good old standard bourbon.
It was
Maker's Mark. So as always, we ask you to please drink responsibly. See you next time right down here with Trent and me in the good old basement bourbon bar. See you later.